going to need a little bit of glitter. I'm using this Rebel glitter. I have this Lorez Creations white, angel white pigment paste. I have ordered a couple of these shells from Temu. And I also have some of these stickers. These are a bunch of stickers that you can get from Temu or AliExpress. And they look quite real, so I thought these would look great inside. And I also have sheets of this gold leaf. This is metallic gold leaf, it's not real. And I've also got this, I think I got this from Amazon, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't have links for most of these products except this and this, but I will leave what I've used in bullet points in the description underneath this video. And of course I've got my mould. I'm going to use the medium-sized version of this mould. And I'm not sure if they sell this anymore. I haven't seen it around. I tried to get the bigger version and I know I got it from AliExpress, but I've looked and there isn't the larger version. So this is going to have to be a 2-tier tray instead of a 3. Although you could mix and match with any other kind of mould. For example, this mould, this could be the bigger version. So I've got this, which is medium, that which is a little bigger. And then I've got the smaller one to go on the top. So that could work. It doesn't have to be matchy-matchy. Okay, now on for the resin. For the base, I'm going to do a base of white, just pure white, maybe with just a little bit of this glitter underneath. And for the base coat, it doesn't really matter which resin you use. You don't particularly need anything crystal clear because it's just the underneath. So I have a selection of 3 that I like, and I've tested all these 3 out. These are 3 brands that I particularly like. And the first one is Tea Expert, their epoxy resin, that's really good. Let's Resin's epoxy resin, and then I've got Craft Resin. 3 different brands. I will leave the link with a discount code down in the description for you in case you're interested in any of these. So I'm going to be using the Craft Resin today because I've got quite a lot left over of it. I don't have much of the others. So I'm just going to go and do this one. I'm going to do 4 ounces for today. And that should just cover the base. You really only want to do halfway up or even just a quarter of the way up. You want to leave some room for all of the flowers, embellishments, and then the top coat. So once I've measured this out, I'm doing this by weight. So I've done 2 of part A, 2 of part B. That's given me 4 ounces altogether. I'm now going to set my timer and then mix for 3 minutes. Okay, I like to stir first with something a little bit more rigid like this, and then I've got a spatula so I can scrape it all out afterwards. I'm going to do my 3 minutes, and I am going to stir. Now, I think I've shown you how to stir before, and I'm sure by now you've seen all of my previous videos, but the way to do it is not to go crazy and stir like mad, but you do want to stir enough so that things get mixed up. As I'm scraping, I'm just pulling down the sides a little bit and the bottom of it so that the mixture, which is, I think I put part A first, and that way part A will really mix properly with part B. So you don't want any part B left on the sides or at the bottom. Okay, 3 minutes is up, it's mixed. I'm going to grab another cup and I am going to pour it in there just in case I don't need all of it. There's no point wasting resin. You know it's expensive, it's not that cheap. So let's try not to waste if we can, and I might have another project I'll show you quickly for that if I remember. So now all I need to do is add a little bit of this Rebel glitter. So it's basically white glitter and it's got some really nice little flakes of blue, green iridescence in it. And let's add just a little bit. Then we can add some of this white pigment paste. Pigment paste is, for this purpose, I'm using paste and not mica. It's because mica has some glitter to it, which is really pretty in other applications. But for this, I just want it to be nice and neutral base. So I'm just mixing it up, just like that. And what you want to do is make sure you don't have any leftover like that on your spoon, because that will not dry if it's not mixed in. So this is what I'm going to do, because I really shouldn't have used this actually. I've got loads of sticks. Let me go and grab one. And what you really need to do is use your stick that you're not then going to use directly in your work. So let's mix this around first. Make sure it's properly mixed, that all of that pigment paste has gone into the resin and none of it's stuck on the sides, because that will give you like a sticky spot and you don't want that. So now that I've done that, I no longer need this stick. I'm going to show you what I use. So if, like me, you have no wet wipes left over, you can just use a kitchen towel, and in my famous little red bottle I have my isopropyl alcohol. Any amount will do, or rubbing alcohol. I'm going to bring back my spatula because that was a mistake. Shouldn't have used that. You just rub off all of that pigment paste, because that really shouldn't stay unmixed on my spatula. And resin and alcohol go fine together, so it's not going to leave any streaks or anything like that. Just make sure you use a clean paper towel. So I like to also just wipe that down and then leave that to the side on some plastic, and that will cure overnight, and then I can just snap off any excess. So I now have my white, my spatula, and all I'm going to do, make sure that the bottom is clean. That's quite dirty there, just have a little spot. And then just pour it in the middle and all over the sides. And then of course scrape every little bit out. This is why you need a clean spatula. And this is also why you must make sure that on the sides of this cup that you've added the white pigment paste, that's also really mixed up, so that you're not scraping any unmixed pigment, which of course if it's not mixed with the resin will just stay sticky. So that should be okay. You might think I'm a little crazy scraping every last drop out, but that's what I always do. And then I am going to spread this around, just like that. And in a minute I'm just going to get a very soft brush or a soft silicone brush, and I am just going to scrape down all of the sides just to make sure that there's no holes on the edges. Whoops, I've gone too far there. So this is completely unedited, as you can see. Mistakes and all. Now I do like to clean my table down, because otherwise I like to reuse my board after, you know, especially for filming. I like a nice whiteboard for you so you can clearly see everything I'm doing. Right, so that's done. I'm going to go and get my little stick. And this I bought years ago. It is just a little silicone stick. Just silicone on the edge so you can peel off the dried resin, and it won't scratch the sides of your molds. So try not to use wood or metal or anything like that. And you can see it's very shallow. I really don't need much for the edges, because we are then going to add a top coat on and our flowers. So just going to go around. There's a little piece in there, I can see it. Yes, there it is. So we don't want that there, so let's just get rid of that, any bubbles, and just go around and scrape these sides, and that will gently coax any air bubbles out. Okay, and then we're going to let that dry. So now let's push this to the side. I said I had some clear resin left. This is just a project I've done a while ago. I painted this tray, and I love doing this with these wooden trays. I painted it, I've given it a wooden effect. I have coated it in varnish, I have stuck some transfers on, some stickers and some gold, as you can see, they're shining, and I just want a little layer of epoxy resin on the top, make it more durable and give it some shine. So I haven't got any of that glitter in. I can put some in, but let me give you just a little tip when you're doing top coats and adding some glitter, just to give it a little bit more glamour, is you really want to just go very slowly. And you see I'm just using a touch there. That's all. And it will give it just a little glimmer. I'm not sure if the camera is picking that up, but you'll see once it's dried and I show it in the sun. So I'm going to mix that around, just gently. And then I'm going to pour some in. Now, if I've got too much there, I can pour the rest into the base of my white mold that we just did. You want enough so that it doesn't pull off the sides. So I've kind of had experience by now to know how much I'll need just by feeling. But because I'm teaching you how to do it, or I'm showing you my process, I'll show you how much I want. I don't want too much. I don't want the tray to be too heavy either. So I'm going to now use this silicone brush again, and I'm just going to coax it down the sides. So I don't want it to go up the sides. I just want it to touch the sides like this. And resin won't go where resin hasn't been before, if that makes sense. So you've got to kind of push the resin into where you want, and then it will self-level into itself. So I'm just going to do this by hand like that. Now usually I have the camera facing downwards, but I don't today. So I'm going to have to do my best to show you. And there, that's an extra project I'm showing you. If you're interested in creating a pretty little tray and you want it covered in resin, that's the way to do it. And then after that's done, I'm going to go and get my little torch gun, and I'm going gently over it. Now, when it comes to top coating and the torch, I usually come back at least twice every 5-10 minutes just to see if any more bubbles have risen to the surface, and then I give it another zap. Because you can never get rid of them all in one go. You'll need to come back at least twice. Okay. And one more thing, when it comes to both this or this, you'll need to level your table. I don't show it enough because I figure people know by now, and it's kind of common sense, but if your table is slightly off, you'll find that your resin will slide to one side and it will be uneven. So here I need to go up a bit on that side, so I'm just going to slide anything that I have lying around. I can use some of these sticks, and I've got so many of them, and I can maybe just put 2 or 3 together. Got to be equal. Put them on either side of the table until your level comes up level. There, that's good. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so this has now had about 4 hours to cure, so it's not completely set, but it's just got a little bit of tackiness, and this is the time that I'm going to add these stickers. So I got these, as I said, from Temu, AliExpress, anything like that. So they've got a little bit of a border, but they're transparent. So I'm just going to add it into the top of the resin, which I said is still a little bit sticky, so they won't float up. And I'm going to go all the way around and add them. And then I'm going to use some real flowers. So these are the ones that I've dried for my garden. I've got a selection. I have a selection of little leaves and some petals. So I'm just going to add them here and there. And I'm just going to cut a few of these off and put them there. Let's put that one there. And this part of the process is the most relaxing. You can spend literally hours just putting bits of flowers here and there, mixture of stickers, mixture of real dried flowers, and eventually you'll come up with a lovely composition. And then the last one there. And now I'm going to start adding my little shells that I've got. Again, I'll list everything down in the description of this video for you. I'm just going to put a few here and there. If some of them are big, you can just cut them. And then the last step is just to add some of this gold leaf. So this is again metallic gold leaf, it's not real. And I'm just going to take a little bit here and there and add them. And there. Try not to fiddle with it too much. You might go overboard with all the glitter. I mean, you can't really do that in my opinion, but you might do. So here it is. It's very similar. They don't have to be matchy-matchy because they are going to be on different levels. But I think that's good. So I'm going to leave it there and we'll be back in the morning. Let it dry completely overnight before we come back for the last step. So I have mixed up a little bit of resin here, well, quite a lot actually, and I've got 7 fluid ounces here, which is 220 grams in total, and I am going to first cover these 4. So these are 4 that I've done like the one that we did yesterday, exactly the same way. We've got some shells, some dried flowers, some sticker flowers, and a little bit of gold leaf. And the best tip I can give you is to pour a little in the middle of each and then spread them around, and if you need to top it up you can. And then the other advice I can give you when it comes to top coats is just to leave it to settle for about 15 minutes and then come and torch. I always think it's best not to over torch the top coat, so I'm going to leave it there 15 minutes and I'm going to be back. Right, I am back now to torch. It's been about 15 minutes. So I'm going to go over very lightly. I don't want to burn the top, so I'm just going to do a couple of little zaps with my torch gun. And that's it. That's how I do my top coats. And then you can leave this to cure overnight. Okay, here they are. They have cured overnight. And this is the most fun part, is unmolding them. So you're going to ask me why I did it upwards, and the reason I did it upwards is because it's got this at the back, and I can't use dried flowers. They won't show up with this embossed pattern, so I've done it backwards, if you like. So that's one. And it's got a really nice coating. I used the Tea Expert resin for the top coat for this, and it came out really clear. Here's the second one. Love that one. And then the third. Now, for some reason, I can only find 3 of these. So I'm going to make another 3. And if people want to buy them by 4, they can buy them by 4. And whatever's left over, I'll keep for myself because they're gorgeous. And then this is a larger version. And this could be for a little presentation plate. You could put cakes on. You could put a bottle of wine if you're using it for your dining room table. So I thought this would be really nice. Matching set. So this is a bigger one, and this is a set of these 3. Good morning, everyone. So today I've got to finish this. It's completely dried. I've got to put a top coat on that. I've made 3 more like the others that I've just done, and I've got to put a top coat on that. I also made this one. Here's just another to add to that collection. This will be a wine bottle coaster. And then I have this that I want to just change up a little. I've added, if you can see, a couple of flowers there and some leaves there and a little bit of gold leaf, and I'm just going to put a top coat there. So I've got enough resin to make the top coat, so let's get started. Okay, let's go. I'm going to first pour some in this one here because I don't need much, just need a little amount. let that settle in for a bit. Then I'm going to pour some in there. And then do the next two. Then my priority today is to finish this one. So let's get most of it inside here. And if I don't have enough, I can mix some more up. Okay, I have done this one. I filled this one right up to the top and this one. So last step is always this, and my trick again is to come back after about 15 minutes and get rid of the bubbles. So I'm not going to do this now, but I am going to do these now, just very quickly, and then I will leave them. Okay, next day. Love this part, unmolding. It's always the most thrilling of creating. So we've got our nice white background and we've got a lovely glossy top coat. Love it. Let me get this in focus. There, you can see it there. Okay, I'll do the same with the others. And again, I've got a lovely white background, and you can see why I've done this upside down. I didn't want this pattern, which is at the bottom of this silicone mold, I didn't want it to be on the top, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see this. So I'm going to unmold the rest of these, and I just have a little touch up there to do, not much. If you go too high up off the mold, to the top of the mold there, you'll get a little bit of excess resin that pours out of the sides there, the edges. If you just come up, I don't know if you can see that, if you can just come up just a little bit more, slightly under the mold, it's still flat, but it doesn't give you the edges. So I actually literally have very little cleanup, if any at all. So there. Just thought you might want to see this one. And this one again has a little pattern at the bottom of the mold, and I didn't want that to be at the top, so I wanted this to be clear. So there's that gorgeous top coat, you can see. And this one I might have gone over slightly, and this is what I was talking about. You'll have a little more of these little crispy edges. They're very thin, so you can almost flick them off with your fingertip, or you can use a brayer. So this is a brayer. Get this off Amazon. If not, you can just use a Stanley knife. So this is the part where I can't just flick it off with my finger, so I'm going to, but very gently, you let the tool do it, you don't push into it, just lightly sort of contour this until it flicks off. That's it, that's all I'm going to do. Maybe there and a little bit there. So I've got the full set here. I've got the 6 coasters and the little wine coaster. So, or you could put anything else that you wanted, really. I mean, you could use this for anything that you think. Maybe a little bowl on the top, maybe a little flower pot, anything that you want, just to protect your table. When it comes to these, I am no longer putting any of those little self-sticking little tabs at the back, because the resin sometimes hasn't settled completely and it kind of falls forward. So what I'm going to do is put a little felt underneath. Whoops, I'm going to put a little felt underneath instead, and this is the same, so that's the same size. That will go with another set. And I'm also going to make a little 3-layered cake stand to match this set, so I'll show you that when I do it. Now an alternative is to add one of these little candelabras. So the candelabra usually goes that way. I've stuck the smaller part on. I've just placed a little bit of epoxy resin there and just left this flat like this to cure overnight. And that's a little cake stand. So I'm going to do one to match that, and that will be a set. And this is how this one came out. It has just a little bit of the resin that's overflowed over the flower because the flower wasn't completely stuck down, so it rose up. I think it's fine. It's fine the way it is. We don't have to go crazy and put another layer on, otherwise there'll be no ridge inside. So that's how that turned out. I've got the 4 little tabs underneath. I love that. That's really pretty. That's cute. Now it's time to build this 3-layer tin, and I have to make holes in this one and this one. Always like to protect the top of the resin. Place it upside down. And then I'm going to have to work out where that goes. So I'll get my measurer. There. Okay. Right, so I've got a small hole first inside. And then I'm going to do the same thing for this one. And then I'm going to change the drill bit. And I'm just using a wood drill bit. It goes through resin really quickly. There. There's that one. I no longer need this. I'm going to go in through the top. And I'm going to change And here it is with the gold handles on. And if you want to see how I actually added all of this hardware on, I did a video a couple of weeks ago showing you exactly how. So if you want to see that one, I'll leave the link below under this video. And this is the matching wine coaster to the Lazy Susan that I did in the last vlog. So I hope you've enjoyed this resin vlog. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye!